So in this particular situation, my sister explained to me that it wasn't going to be for a very long time because she had a busy schedule. So the plan was, when they came from Chicago to California, was that she was going to spend a day with Tupac either at his home or in the studio or on a movie set. Well, that was 3 times more than what she was going to get with Janet Jackson on more of a personal level. You know, with Tupac, me being his bodyguard, and that being my family. Not only was he doing it for them as my family, because we had a different type of bonding friendship and relationship with one another.
Frank, why you showing up? Make a nigga like this feel bad.
James, what's up, man?
I feel you, homie. Hey, I hope you Chinese if you got some Chinese tattoos on you. Chinese? You don't know what the fuck they run on you, huh? That shit can say 2 egg rolls on you right now. That's it. Hey, get that. Ask somebody Chinese if you watching this tape. Don't just say 2 egg rolls to go with hot sauce. Is that what this say? Niggas ain't Chinese, get Chinese letters like they been somewhere and shit. You ain't never left the block, nigga. Act like you was the China guy.
Pac be clowning everybody, man. We told him he missed his call. He should have been a comedian also.
Look at that, they got one too. This nigga got half the
all the little
fucking
homies?
Bible on him in Chinese.
I tell like Frankie to call you and then
Frankie, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Frankie? Yeah, tell Frankie to call me. Frankie, you call me when she tells you to call me Frankie.
Why? What's that?
Frankie goes to Hollywood. Hey, yo, Frankie. Frankie! Yo, Frankie!
How do you record this fool?
Why? Y'all call him Frankie?
Nah, we gonna call him Frankie.
Only our family call us that. Call me that,
shit
Lamika.
forever now.
What y'all call him?
Frankie, now we call him Frankie. Yo, Frankie, we got him, y'all. Frankie Knuckles. Frankie Knuckles up in this motherfucker. Frankie Knuckles?
No, what I do wrong? What y'all call him? For real, straight up. For real.
Frank.
Oh.
But now the E sound real extra, because you know Frank a little extra sexy and you know too sexy for some sleeves. Too sexy for some long pants.
Got your level?
Too sexy for some sleeves.
Rain down this hair.
My name is so Frankie.
Just the hair. Rain down this lip.
My family came out June 10th of 1996. That day, June 10th, Tupac was going to be in the studio. We were more than likely done on the set of Gridlock that day. I called up the family and said, okay, this is where we're going to be. This is how you get there. They came out. When they came out, Tupac greeted them with arms open, you know, and he came into the studio, went back into his recording session, and he did something for my family, for my niece, that no one would have been able to get out of him at that point in time in his life, because he was working on movies, he was working on videos, and he was in the studio. He had a full schedule, more than a full schedule.
And Coco G and
Go ahead.
okay, I'm out. Saturday.
No, for fact.
See.
Yeah.
You promise?
No promises. Promises made to be broken. I might get hit by a car and go to jail.
Oh,
So
don't say that.
just come see me. No
Okay.
doubt. You're welcome.
Okay then.
Just tell Frank.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here we go. Rolling.
You be with me. Make me a drink, dog.
September the 6th, prior to the day that Tupac was shot on September the 7th, I arrived in Las Vegas September the 6th, the day before. Tupac was not in Las Vegas at the time that I arrived. At that time, I had been on vacation, and I left home early that day, made it to Vegas, checked in, so when he would get here, I would be here. We stayed at the Luxor Hotel. That was the hotel of choice for Death Row Records. And I checked in, met up with some of my other homeboys. We hung out and everything. The next day rolls around, it's Saturday. I was looking for Tupac, anticipating when he was going to come, but there was a security meeting that Saturday at 12 noon. At that security meeting, it was set with a local attorney's office in Las Vegas, George Clinesis or something to that nature, and Right Way Security. So all of the security that was going to be in town for the Mike Tyson Selden fight, we had a meeting that day. That day, we were told not to bring our weapons into the club after the fight, not to have our weapons on our person, to either leave them in our hotel room or to leave them in our vehicles. Several of us had talked about it, and we decided we'll leave our weapons in our vehicles, and we'll leave the vehicles, obviously, in the parking lot because we're going to have to drive them. So if anything jumped off, one person would have a weapon on them, but all of us would have our weapons in our car if we needed to get to them. So we wouldn't be weaponless having them in a room.
Let me ask you this. Has there ever been a situation where you were told to leave your weapon prior to this?
We were never told prior to September the 7th to leave our weapons anywhere other than the fact if we were going out of the state of California by airplane to a video shoot or on tour, we knew common sensely we couldn't carry a weapon on an airplane. So more than likely we would have left our weapons at that time, but we were never told, there was never a meeting held specifically to tell us to leave our weapons, period.
This was the first in a long line of unusual events that were to take place that weekend.
After lunch, I'm riding with Reggie Wright, going back. He asked me to ride with him. I said, okay, fine. He explained to me that my radio, which was a Nextel radio, a handheld set, and a telephone, that my backup bodyguard, which his name is Kevin Hackey, who was with Tupac while I was on vacation, had my radio and he was still in LA. And Reggie told me that he was pissed at Kevin because he did not turn in the radio. He was not where he supposed to have been at the time for me to get the radio, which would have been brought to Las Vegas. Reggie says to me, go look for Pac, he's here. I go, oh, he's here now? And he goes, yeah, he got in today. So I said, okay. So I go into the Luxor and I'm looking around for Pac. As I get in, he's at a table gambling, right? So I go over to the table and I'm like, Pac, what up? And immediately he goes, Big Frank, and all the little homies and stuff, Frank, Big Frank, where you been, man, where you been? I explained to him, I've been on vacation, this and that. So everything was cool. Pac is really, really restless. He says, hey, let's get out of here, man. He goes, I'm not feeling this casino. Let's go to another casino, right? So we say, cool. We go, where you want to go? He goes, let's go to MGM. So myself and another security, which his name is Michael Moore, he was with me during the time I was with Pac during the day, the earlier part of the day. And we walked over to the MGM. All of the outlaws, Tupac, Michael Moore, and myself. We get over to the MGM. He finds another crap table. He gets on a crap table. MGM is packed. It's a fight night, fight day, fight night. And the MGM is packed. There's women everywhere, and there's people everywhere trying to get at Pac, right? So myself and Michael Moore are surrounding him, and the outlaws, they would act as well, and we would have people back, to where they're back, and we got him up in the front, so he's secured. Pac's gambling. I mean, he's rolling big, and he's winning big, right? So he's rolling, he's winning, he's feeling good. So he says to me, "Hey, Frank," he goes, "go over and call Reggie and find out what's up with Suge." So I'm like, all right. I go, "Don't leave. I'm gonna just go to the payphones." I pointed to him where the payphones were, and he goes, all right. So he's still gambling. I leave Michael Moore there. I told him what was going on. I go to the payphone. I call Reggie, and Reggie goes, "Give me a call back, a little bit later, whatever. I'll, find out from Suge what time he wants to meet up with Pac." So, all right, cool. I go back to the table. Pac's gone. He's not there, right? So I'm like, shit, where did he go? Pac has never left me, never, right? So I'm looking all around for him. I can't find him, right? I mean, I'm walking through the whole entire casino at this point, all of the tables thinking, where could he be? He's not there. Little did I know at that time that he had left me, which later on I found out he had gone back to the Lexus, Michael Moore had taken him back over there. But I was walking the MGM, and I basically, little as I knew that I was scoping the exits, and I was gonna find our way out of there later on come that night.
He was wandering the floor by himself without security. Frank made a call up to Michael Moore's room where he had gone to change clothes.
I went to my room. He told me to go to my room. I was like, you can't leave him like that, right? So I go, "Pac, what do you want to do?" He goes, "Man, I want to go to the MGM." He goes, "Fuck this shit," right? I was like, "Well, I'm not dressed, Pac." And he goes, "Well, I'll tell you what, you go get dressed. Michael Moore, you stay with me." I said, "All right." And he goes, "And then when Frank gets dressed, you go get dressed and you meet us over at the MGM." So I go up to my room, I get dressed. I come back down, Mike, he takes off. Pac goes, "Come on, Frank, let's go catch a cab." I go, "Where we going?" He goes, "We're gonna go to the MGM." I said, "You wanna walk over there?" He goes, "No, man, we're gonna catch a cab." So we catch a cab, we go to the MGM, we go through the front entrance. We get in the entrance, and it was just like a rat pack. Tupac, Tupac, Tupac. And everybody's running over there all, Tupac. So the security was from the MGM. I asked them, could they escort us back to the Grand Arena area? So they said, "Yeah, no problem. Come on, let's walk around the crowd. We're gonna go behind them." So they went and got like 2 or 3 more guys, and they cleared a pathway behind the line that had formed for the fight. So we make it back over into the area. At this time, it's 7:30. Pac is anxiously pissed now. He's pacing, he's, "This shit, man, this shit don't make no sense." He goes, "I didn't want to fucking come here anyway," Nothing makes any sense. It's Tupac, he's nervous,
So he didn't want to be there that night.
He said, "I didn't want to come here anyway." Okay. So he goes, "Call Suge, call Suge." So I call Reggie. I go, "Reggie," Pac is really getting antsy, man. He's getting pissed, right? He was very impatient, very impatient. So I go, "What do you want me to do?" He goes, "Well, hold up. I'm going to call you right back." Now, at this point, Tupac is with me at the payphone calling Reggie. So we get an answer back from Reggie, and Reggie says, "Suge is on his way." I go, he goes, "Who's with you?" I go, "Just me and Pac." And he goes, "All right." So we're waiting, everybody's going in, and he's pissed. He's pacing back and forth. He's antsy, right? So "This fucking shit, man. Suge always do this, man. You always got to make the last entrance, blah, blah, blah." So I'm like, "He'll be here, man. He's chilling." He goes, "No, man, fuck this, man." He goes, "We should just go, man." He goes, "We should just go." I said, "Whatever you want to do, Pac." As soon as I said that, we turned around. Here comes Suge. I don't know, one of the gentlemen that was with him, I didn't know who he was, and then one of his homeboys. And as the world knows, the fight was boom, 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 boom. The fight was over. After the fight, Tupac's and Suge's thing was to go to the back where, Mike's dressing room. So we went backstage. We go backstage, and we're waiting on Tyson to come back there. And Pac's back there, he's all excited. His boy just knocked out Selden. 50 blows, he just hit him 50 times. You count him. So, I'm back there with him and everything, and Suge is back there. So Suge says something to Pac, and then the next thing I know, we're leaving. Tyson didn't even make it out the ring to come down. We walk out of the MGM back arena area. As we get out into the entrance area, we're looking for the rest of the, Suge's guys, the Death Row Posse, and then Pac's looking for the Outlaws, right? So after a fight, everybody met out there, and then everybody got together, and we went on about our business. This particular night, we're standing there, and we're looking for everybody, and then everybody shows up. Everyone shows up, and one of Suge's homeboys, his name is Trevon, he comes over and he whispers something in Pac's right ear, because I'm on his left. He whispers something. Next thing I know, Tupac takes off running. He took off running, and I went off running behind him, and when he turned the corner, there was this guy standing there. Little did I know who he was. He ran up to him, and he swung. And then the guy swung back, and then Pac weaved, and then Pac swung again. And at this time, there was like 3 or 4 blows thrown. Tupac had this medallion on that he had recently purchased, and it broke. When it broke, he went down to pick it up. When he went down to pick it up, I grabbed him. When I grabbed him, I threw him against the wall, so I had him out of the fight. At this time, everyone else is running up, as clearly the MGM footage shows. The guy is Orlando Anderson now that we know who he is. They're into this brawl. And I have Tupac against the wall now at this point. The fight ended. We had to get out of there. Little did I know, earlier, when they had left me, I had already walked all through the MGM. So everybody's taking off, going in the wrong direction. I go, no, Suge, this way, right? And then he's like, no, this way. And I go, Suge, I was just here all day, this way. So they followed. And we followed, got our way out, and we took off and walked back over to the Lexor. We get back over to the Lexor. Suge said, hey, I'm gonna go up and change. Pac was there, I'm gonna go up and change. We'll meet back down in the valet. All right, cool. He changed clothes from what he had on, a silk shirt and blue jeans, into a green sweatsuit type attire. He had a green tank top on and green sweatpants.
What about the medallion?
The medallion had broke. He had it in his pocket. I fixed the medallion for him while we were sitting there in the room. I put it back together, and after I put it back together, I gave it to him. He goes, you fixed it? I go, yeah, man, I fixed it. He put it around his neck, right? I didn't know what the medallion was or what it stood for, because it was the first time I had seen it. Later on, I found out that that medallion was of his slogan, Euthanasia, which was his management company that he had started. And on the medallion was a black angel of death. Eeriness of that, and then other things that happened later on, was just like mind-boggling to me. After I had the chance to sit back and put all of the pieces of the puzzle together and look at everything, it became like, whoa. There's a lot of weird coincidences going on after he was shot. We're down in the, at this time we left his room, we're down in the valet parking, we're waiting on Suge. Suge shows up. While we're down in the valet, all of the hoochies, all of the groupies, everybody that knew Tupac and Suge was, Suge, can we go to the club? Suge, Pac, can we go? Suge said, let's go. He and Pac was walking to Suge's BMW. I'm walking with them. When we get to the car, Pac turned to me and goes, yo, Frank. He pulled the keys out, he handed me the keys. He goes, drive the little homies, because we're gonna be drinking tonight and you'll be able to drive us back. So I was like, what car you want me to drive? He goes, drive Kadada's car. And I didn't even know where the car was. I go, where is it? He goes, it's right there. He goes, the homies will show you where it's at. So I was like, all right. So Suge gets in his car, he and Pac, and the entourage is starting to form now. Suge takes off, I'm right behind him. I'm the bodyguard on point. Theoretically and honestly, there should have been 3 or 4 more bodyguards with us that particular time, going from there, going to Suge's house, and going back to the club that night for the after party. Later on, I found out that with security, that there was 22, about 20 to 22 security personnel for this night. Everyone was called to Club 662 to set up the security and get the people rolling in over there. So all of the security was there. Michael Moore, who was with me earlier that evening, supposedly had met us at the MGM. His story to me was Al Giddens, who was the supervisor now for security at this point, Al Giddens told Michael Moore to fuck that. You go and come to the club. And he was like, well, Tupac told me to come over to the MGM. He was like, no, we need you over here. You get over here. So Mike went over to the club. So I was the only one left with Pac. Keep in mind, my weapon was in my car. I didn't have a phone. I had no way of communication. Reggie was also over at the club. Reggie normally is Suge's bodyguard, and Reggie is always with Suge. That night, why he wasn't with Suge, only Reggie knows that. At this time, everyone in the car, not just me, looked at the gas and was like, yo, Frank, we're gonna run out of gas. I was like, what y'all want me to do, pull over and get gas? I go, you know, if we pull over, we lost them, right? So I said, I can't pull over. I might as well take the chance and run out of gas, right? Thinking we're just gonna go to Suge's and from Suge's back to the club. But the light had been on forever at this point, on the gas light.
How long were you all at Suge's house?
When we got to Suge's house, we were at Suge's house probably a good 30 minutes. Suge went in, he changed clothes, and they were all just BSing a little bit. When Suge finally came out, hopped in his car, when we came through the security guard that guards the homes going into Suge's place, there had to been 20, 30 cars out on the road just waiting for us to come out to follow us. We leave out of Suge's, again, we're flying 70, 80 miles an hour going back toward Las Vegas Strip. We get back on the Strip at this point, and why the car didn't run out of gas is a miracle right now to me, because it should have. We get back on the Strip. We're proceeding to go down the Strip. It's a fight night. The fight's over. The Strip is jam-packed, crowded. We're probably about in front of the Excalibur Hotel.